This is coverage you can count on. WGAL News 8 at 5 starts now.
Some big changes could be coming to Pennsylvania state law, from the motorists on our roads to the law enforcement sworn to serve and protect. And News 8 is on top of it all, speaking to both the lawmakers and the experts on these issues. Welcome to News 8 at 5, everyone. I'm Brian Gray.
And I'm Lori Burkholder. That first bit of legislation would require all motorcyclists to wear a helmet on the roads.
Our team coverage kicks off all new at 5 o'clock here with News 8's Sarah Metz. She's live in Lancaster with the details on what that could look like and who it could affect.
That's right. Now, this helmet requirement would be across Pennsylvania, meaning all riders or passengers on a motorcycle, regardless of their age or experience, would have to wear a helmet.
The memo from Representative Manuel Guzman of Berks County went out to House members on Monday. It talks about the plan to propose a universal motorcycle helmet safety act. But as of today, nothing is official. As it stands, in Pennsylvania, anyone who is on a motorcycle must wear a helmet unless they are over 21 and have 2 years of riding experience or have completed a specific safety course.
When I see somebody riding without a helmet, I think of the 3 helmets I've destroyed over the years, wearing them in accidents.
Rick Gray has years of experience on a bike with more than 600,000 miles, but he's also had his fair share of accidents, all of which he says he was wearing a helmet.
The whole front of them right out, sliding down the road face first. So when I got up and still had a nose, I was glad that I had a helmet on.
However, he thinks whether or not someone wears a helmet should be up to the rider. According to the memo, 19 other states have universal helmet laws already in place for riders and their passengers.
Now, the new legislation would not include 3-wheeled motorcycles or autocycles. And coming up at 6 o'clock, I'm talking about how this was already a law in Pennsylvania and how it was repealed. In Lancaster, Sarah Metz, WGAL News 8.
We should add here, there is an effort to meet motorcyclists a little more in the middle by letting them have helmets with headphones built in. Republican State Representative Zach Mako's legislation was approved in the House, but it's sitting in committee in the Senate as we speak. Currently, it's illegal to wear headphones while driving any kind of street legal motor vehicle, whether it be a car, truck, or a motorcycle. The use of a one-ear headset is legal, though, and so are the use of hearing aids.
And more movement at the state capitol today. Masks off. That's what some Pennsylvania lawmakers are pushing for when it comes to law enforcement and government agents that work in the Commonwealth.
8 on your side, political reporter Tom Lehman is live in Harrisburg on how recent federal actions prompted this proposed legislation. Tom?
Yeah, Brian, the supporters of this legislation say the bill they're drafting, well, it's something they created after they became concerned about the actions of federal agencies here in Pennsylvania, this including Homeland Security, as well as U.S. border agents, as well as the Immigrations and Custom Enforcement. But they've said that they want to try to bring transparency by putting masks on them, especially if they are coming into the Commonwealth to do things like conduct raids to try and detain people who are here in the country illegally. Now, this legislation, again, still being drafted, but it requires officers and government officials operating in PA to identify themselves and make sure that they have clear identification. It bans officers from using masks or coverings to conceal their identities. It would also hike penalties for people impersonating law enforcement. Now, government officials who conceal their identity or don't properly identify themselves could face civil penalties. One lawmaker from Montgomery County backing this bill told me recent raids and efforts by Immigrations Customs Enforcement in Norristown caused him significant concerns about law enforcement officers not identifying themselves.
The guy in the mask is the guy you don't trust, right? We don't want to do that to our police officers, to law enforcement, but we also don't want to do that to the citizens.
Now, we reached out to several law enforcement agencies that could be affected by this legislation. Many did not respond to our request for comment. We also reached out to Attorney General Dave Sunday's office about the proposed legislation. They declined comment on this particular bill. In Harrisburg, Tom Lehman, News 8.
The Soldiers and Sailors Monument in Lancaster's Penn Square is an iconic and historic part of the city. And now a man is charged with damaging the flag flying at that site. 38-year-old Francisco Rodriguez Jr. is charged with arson of a historic resource. According to charging documents, Rodriguez burned holes and also put plastic bags over the heads of two of the statues back on July the 19th. News 8 also learned that Rodriguez pleaded guilty to vandalizing the Christopher Columbus statue and throwing bricks through the Lancaster County Courthouse and the Lancaster County Probation Office in June of 2021.
New tonight, a Lancaster County man is charged after police in Mount Joy say he pointed a gun at a person in a parking lot. 22-year-old Matthew Achenbach is charged with terroristic threats and several other charges. According to charging documents, Achenbach and the victim got into an argument in a bar in Mount Joy on Saturday. Then police say they went to the parking lot and Achenbach pulled a gun, loaded a round in the chamber, and pointed it at the victim. No shots were fired. Well, Franklin County man is facing charges tonight for hit and run in the parking lot of a Rudders. Waynesboro police are charging 51-year-old Marvin Stauffer with one count of accidents involving death or personal injury in that incident on May 18th at the Rudders on South Potomac Street. No word on the condition of the victim.